Howdy everybody. Well, this is the main chunk of the new machinery that followed me home. So I can't remember how much I've shared in videos. You guys know how to hit the fast forward button if I get monologuing too much. So anyways, this machine is a Colchester Mastiff Model 1400. Now, I'm sure you're all very familiar with the Clausing Colchester 21-inch lathe. What this is, as far as I can tell, and if somebody else got better information, I'd be happy to hear it, but as far as I can tell, what this is a lathe that was probably built for the English market by Colchester. I don't understand exactly what the relationship between Colchester and Clausing was. I've kind of assumed that Clausing was just buying Colchester lathes, or at least getting them branded by Colchester, and that they were separate companies, but at this point, I think they've merged sometime since then, and I think Clausing Colchester is one company. But at least at this point in history, in the English market, it looks like they were still marketing these lathes under just the Colchester name. So the Mastiff 21-inch was, I don't know how it ended up here. That's the biggest question in my mind. I don't know of them ever selling them under the Colchester name in the U.S., but maybe they did. My suspicion was that it perhaps had got imported to Canada, because I know with a lot of other stuff like that, they would import stuff from England to Canada rather than the U.S. to Canada, especially if it was something that was English built. So that would be my suspicion. So anyways, it's got a few idiosyncrasies because of that. The main one being that it's originally set up as a 415-volt machine. Now, when we went down to Indiana, so as a friend of mine, Ben Thompson, has got a little equipment dealer down there. They buy and sell used machinery, do some equipment repair. He and a partner of his. And he got a hold of this with a blown gear in the headstock, and it was really grubby. And he's got a pretty small shop, and he just got in touch with me and said, "Hey, are you interested in this thing the way that it is?" Just in the interest of keeping his shop space opened up, I would think primarily. So at any rate, I was very interested in it the way it is. So we ended up cutting a deal, and then he has connections with an equipment dealer in Cincinnati, C.W. Woods, which fantastic guys also. If you're ever over there and you're looking for some used equipment, I would deal with either of these. If anybody messages me, I'd be happy. Ben's in Brazil, Indiana, C.W. Woods in Cincinnati, and either of them are fantastic places. I can recommend both. So anyways, these C.W. Woods had a parts machine over there, so he let me know that. So I got in touch with them and was talking to them about getting the gear, which they gave me a very reasonable price on, but they were pretty busy, didn't have a lot of time to have one of their guys pull it, so then they offered to just sell me the whole lathe. So we came back with two lathes. We went to Cincinnati, picked up a Clausing Colchester 21-inch by, I don't know, 60, 72, something like that. And also, they had a couple of crates of Monarch 10EE parts, and as long as we were there, they were kind of downsizing a bit. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse on all of their Monarch 10EE parts. So we just bought them out, loaded those up, went over to Brazil, Indiana, got more Monarch 10EE parts that were from a connection Ben had there, and then loaded this, and came back, as you can imagine, just loaded for bear. I wouldn't be shocked if we were knocking on the door 14,000 pounds. I think just this lathe's like 7,500. The other one's like 5,500, and then I don't know how many thousands of pounds of Monarch parts we loaded up to. So anyway, it was really loaded. So we got her all on a friend of mine's trailer, triple axle gooseneck. So we were plenty heavy capacity capability. So anyways, we've got her here, got her unloaded. So the next step, and I'll try and document this, is going to be tearing down the parts machine, tearing this down, getting the parts in, and then just generally, like, I'll probably give you a walk around in a minute, but like the front tag on this is beat up. There's a lot of stuff on the parts machine that's nicer. So condition-wise, this lathe appears to be really nice. I cannot feel any steps on the front V-way. I've mic'd out the back flat way, and I'm coming up with a thousandths. The worst spot in the bed is a thousandths thinner than the tailstock end where it's not worn. So that is absolutely phenomenal for a lathe this vintage, and I would say the front way is at least in that kind of condition also. So I'm quite convinced this is going to be a very accurate lathe when we get her cleaned up and together. So anyways, I'll give you a walk around, just kind of show you the machine a little bit, and I'm really excited to get rolling on this. So what I did find out, I just mentioned, so the electric motor I was planning on swapping the motor out of the parts machine, assuming it was 415 volt. I cleaned the tag up on this one, and it's a normal 240, 480 volt dual voltage motor. So I don't know if they just put those motors in all of them and just ran them on lower volts when they were in a 418 environment, or 415 volt environment. Or if this one's been swapped. So it turns out the only thing I actually need to swap is the drop-down transformer for the control circuit. That one does not have a tap that will let me run it either 480 or 240. I need 240, so I'm going to switch that out for the parts machine. But otherwise, this thing's looking fantastic. So let me give you a walk around in it, just show you what she's like. So this is what the English control circuit looks like. You can see it's tapped for 394, 415, and 436. So that's got to get swapped out. I pulled the cover off this motor just as I wanted to take a look in there. I was getting ready to start rewiring the motor to 240 volts when I got distracted. Anyways, looks real good. Oh, this is the part that's got me excited about this. Through hole on these is 3 9/16. So obviously it's designed to clear a 3.5 inch bar. That's pretty awesome. Gear train's grubby, but looks good. And you can see this is where I do not know what somebody was doing to this thing, but I mean, just beat the stuffings out of it. Factory inch and metric threading. That's pretty awesome. Still got the original. These came with Pratt Bernard chucks on them. When I looked up specs, they came standard with just a 4-jaw. Now, maybe it had a 3-jaw with it and it got lost, but it's possible that this is just the original chuck, and it is a Pratt Bernard. I'm sure it's the original one to this lathe. I don't know if it ever would have had the 3-jaw. This is the gap bed model. Pretty excited about that too. I think that's going to be, I don't need it a lot, but this lathe will swing, I believe it's 31 inches in the gap. So obviously, steady rest. Needs, as you can see, a good clean job. Here's one of the weird things about this. Because it's a gap bed, they've modified some stuff about the carriage. So the carriage, I guess, effectively, the cross slide is moved forward on the carriage. If you look at one without the gap, the wings on the front of the carriage are about that much longer. Well, it's not that I've measured them now. It's not that they shortened the carriage. It's the same overall length. It's just that it's longer on the back than the front. I'm assuming the reason for that is so that you can work right up to the edge of the gap without coming off the end if you're machining here. It obviously does reduce the overall load-bearing capability of this end of it. But and then here's the other weird thing. I think also related to that, they've flipped the layout of the entire carriage. Like the hand wheel is normally on this side, power feed stuff's all on that side. As far as I can tell, they've just mirror imaged the entire thing. I'm sure that's so that they can have the drive pinion on the back edge of the carriage so that it doesn't run off the end of the rack under here when you're up working that close to the gap. That's going to take me some getting used to. I understand that this layout is at least somewhat standard on English lathes, but definitely isn't on American ones. My Myford ML7, which is English, is the only other lathe I've run that was laid out this way. And I'm going to get y'all laughing at me now, but I've been running lathes since I was like 10 years old, and it's just, I can about cut a 45 running the 2 hand wheels with my eyes closed until I get on one of these lathes, and then it messes with me so bad that when I want to cut a 45 on my Myford ML7, I cross my hands and run the dials with the opposite hands. That's the only way I can do it and do a nice smooth job of it. So anyway, there she is, guys. It's a 21-inch swing by 120-inch tween centers, Colchester Mastiff, and I'll definitely show you guys the process of cleaning her up. The plan, by the way, the only spot in my shop where I can put this without crossing a control joint is back here. So we're going to move the radial drill over here and put it where this closing Colchester 17-inch is, which, by the way, that's still on the market. I've decided I got too many lathe projects. I thought about fixing it up more and, making it a more marketable machine. Because frankly, this lathe cleaned up still ought to be a $6,000 lathe. It's got some wear on it, but it's not a goner by any means. But I've decided we're just basement bargaining the price out and getting it out of here. I think I've got it listed at $3,700 right now. Anyways, if you know anybody that's looking for one, send them over here because I'd like to get it out of here so I can start moving stuff around. But anyways, I guess I'll catch you guys later and let you know how things are coming. I'll probably do a Monarch video when I get digging through the Monarch parts and start seeing where we're at with the 10AA. So catch you next time. Have a good one.